Are you ready to talk about the Betz with the Z?
I am
Sphere.
ready for food.
Are you ready to rumble?
No. So what do y'all know? If anything, have y'all ever heard of the Betz Sphere?
No. Star, circle, square,
Betz is the family name.
diamond.
In the rough.
So, the Betz family. This was in the 70s, and they're pretty well educated and well off. They're not like top 1%, but they got some money. And this point, they're not really at this point, they're not really seeking to make a lot of money. They've already got what they need. They're not like, we're rich and we want to be richer, and they're not out there looking for fame.
So they're like
When was this?
they're like upper middle class.
1974. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Back when you could be an ice cream truck driver and have a house and take a vacation in two
and-
cars.
And three kids.
Antoine Betz was a marine engineer, so he probably made good money.
Oh yeah, he sounds like he made good money.
His wife Jerry was an artist.
His wife Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry can be a woman's name. It's not that common, but
I mean, anything can be a name, I guess.
which, by the way, keep in mind Jerry is his wife, because when I was doing the notes, I forgot, and so I was wanting to say Jerry he, and I was like, oh wait, no, that's the wife. So if we say Jerry, it's his wife.
It's a she.
That's the wildest woman name I've ever heard.
You need to get out because there's much
Is
wilder.
it just spelled like Jerry?
Well,
yeah, it's Jerry.
J-E-R-Y.
J-E-R-R-Y. But
Yeah.
I've heard of women named Jerry, so
Really?
yeah, it's not the most common, but
I've heard of women named Dylan. I've met a few Dylans.
yeah, we know a Dylan.
I do.
Yes.
Who?
They used to come to church here.
Oh, the little girl.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Jordan.
Peterson.
That's my aunt's name.
Yep.
Jordan Peterson's your aunt. Anyway, we're getting off track. Andrew wants food. You gotta stop getting me off track.
I need sleep, dude. I need caffeine.
Okay, so Antoine and Jerry had 6 kids.
Oof.
Their home was kind of a mansion and was called the castle.
Oh wow.
Wow, sacrilegious. That's the word of the podcast.
They lived on Fort George Island, which is just outside of Jacksonville, Florida. They had 88 acres of land that they
Wow.
mostly used for raising trees and for timber. So again, they're pretty well off.
Yeah.
They're pretty well off.
That's a good size island.
Yep. Okay, so spring of 1974, there was a large brush fire that swept across their property. And while they were out assessing the damage and just looking over it, they noticed something out there that they're like, oh, what is this? So they go over there, check it out, and lying in the grass, which is all charred and burnt, there's a highly polished metal sphere. This became known as the Betz Sphere or the Betz Orb.
So they kept it?
They had a 21-year-old son at the time named Terry.
Terry and Jerry.
Terry and Jerry. And so he went and picked up the sphere. The sphere is about 8 inches in diameter, and for that size, it's pretty heavy. It's about 21 pounds.
Oh wow.
So basically think half an inch smaller than a bowling ball, but 5 pounds heavier than the maximum bowling ball.
So it's just a solid steel.
It's like a shot put. A little bit bigger.
The sphere had no seams, had no weld marks, no signs of machining. It was just a solid
Casting.
piece of metal. It had some scuffs on it and scratches, but no real dents or markings other than a 3 millimeter triangle that was etched or stamped onto it.
So it fell from the sky.
Who knows? They don't know how it got there.
That's what started the fire.
Maybe.
It was always
So-
burning and never
So
turned.
they did what pretty much anyone would do, and they took it home.
Of course.
And they said, "Oh, we'll just keep it, whatever."
I would too.
And so they just put it with some stuff and just sat there, and then they kind of didn't think about it anymore. Just kind of, oh, that's cool. But then a few weeks later, weird things started happening. Terry had a friend over, and they were in his room playing guitar when they started hearing a humming sound. So they stopped playing. We're listening for it to see where it was coming from. When they stopped playing, it faded out. So they're just like, okay, whatever. Start playing again, and the humming returns. And they realize every time they start playing is when the humming starts. So Terry is like, let's figure out what this is. So he starts going around, playing his guitar, walking around, getting closer to the humming, and realized that the sphere would vibrate as he played.
Oh, okay.
So he got louder, and the vibrations became more powerful.
Did his mother, Jerry, tell him to turn it down?
No, but at some point, their dog started whining at the sphere and was like cowering at the sphere.
My dog does that too.
So Terry said, okay, let's see something. And so he got a hammer and tapped the sphere with the hammer, and it responded with a ringing sound.
So they just brought it in without trying to like figure it out?
Yes.
Then he's like,
They just brought it in, didn't know it, and then just like, oh, let's just put it here.
Give me that hammer.
So Terry took it to his family and was like, hey, look at this. This is neat. Started playing, hitting it with the hammer. Okay. Then they put it on the ground, and while nobody was touching it or even near it, it started to move.
Their house was not even.
It's a Mexican jumping bean.
They didn't have those people back then. They weren't bust in at that time.
So they started kind of messing with it, and so they would roll it, and it would like they put on the ground, roll it. It would go as they rolled it, stop, and then come back to them. Sometimes
It's weird.
Sometimes it would stop and then like go left and then come back and then come back, but it always ended up coming back to whoever rolled it.
It's like a Roomba.
But it wouldn't do it like, it wasn't like consistently it would go so far and come back. It was like random almost, where sometimes it would go pretty far, sometimes it would not go that far and immediately come back. Sometimes it would go far, sit for a few seconds and come back. But it always came back. Once it rolled for 12 minutes on its own.
Wow.
So the Betz were confused, but there's kind of like, okay, this has to be gyroscopic. This has to be...
Yeah.
Like, they basically were like, here's a list of things it could be, and started, like, testing for it and kind of being like, maybe not. One thing they ended up doing was they put the sphere on a coffee table, and they put it in the middle, and then they pushed it, and it would not roll off the table. If it got to the edge, it would stop and then come back toward the center.
It's a Roomba.
It was as if it was as if it did not want to fall off. So then they picked up the coffee table and tilted it, and the ball rolled up the incline, not down.
This is just weird.
So they're like, this is interesting. And so they went, or Jerry went, or maybe it was Terry, because it says he.
Did he
So
put
one
it
of
in
them,
reverse, Terry?
one of them, I think it might have been Jerry. One of them decided, what happens if you shake it? And so they shook it and said, whatever this thing is doesn't like to be shook. And so in a newspaper report, they're quoted saying, and this is funny you said this, Andrew, or you already said this, but they said, quote, if you shake the ball vigorously and place it on the ground, it feels like a huge Mexican jumping bean, which is trying to get away from you.
Nice.
So that's what they compared it to. They also found out that it had a magnetic field because paper clips would stick to it. And if it rolled for long periods of time, the magnetic field was stronger and it was harder to get them off.
So it was like charging up.
But it was just attracting paper clips.
No, no, no,
nothing
no,
bigger,
no,
right?
no, no. It got one time. It got the lid of a mayonnaise jar stuck to it, and they couldn't get the lid off.
But wait, okay, so I'm assuming it was metal back then?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Not plastic.
No, I've seen mayonnaise jars even today that have had the metal.
Okay.
So they also found that if they left it in sunlight, it would like get almost said warm, but that makes sense. Of course, it's in the sun. Why would it not get warming in the sun? But it would be more active when it was exposed. Like that's when the longer rolling would
It
happen,
would roll around a lot more.
and they could hear a lower vibration and hum even when it was just sitting still and there was nothing going on if it had been in the sunlight for a while. And one time they left it out in the sun for a while and then they brought it in. It was like charged, quote unquote, charged for over 3 days. Before,
Really?
yeah.
Just rolling around for 3 days?
It didn't roll nonstop for 3 days, but it like every time they did something with it, it was more
Active.
and
Gotcha.
they stayed doing that vibrating it would do.
It's got that like gyroscopic. You remember those toys as a kid? You'd like put the string or the thing, you'd rip it through.
No, makes me think. What I was thinking of is like those stupid pet balls.
Yeah.
That you have like a ferret on it and you turn it. And it's
Yes, that's always
Yes.
that Cracker Barrel
Yes.
going around.
That's what I picture. It's just one of those.
Yeah.
Your mom gave us one. It like shakes and bounces and like it'll parrot whatever sound it hears. Dude, my dog hates that thing.
Of course, I would too. So eventually, after they did their own whatever, and they're not able to figure out what it is, they reached out to journalists, and so that they kind of had a connection to through a family friend. So they reached out to a journal and they sent a photographer who went in thinking this was the stupidest thing. He's like, first of all, I don't believe any of it's true. Second of all, it's just a ball. Who cares? He did not care. He went. They showed him what it could do. And he was immediately like, man, was I wrong? And he flipped entirely and was like super into it. And so they started publishing stuff. And the Betz name basically became well known overnight. And for some reason, they gave them their phone number, which I think was stupid. But they got their phone number. And so their phone number was published in the journals. And so
It was a different time back then.
so people just started calling them all the time. Like their phone would ring all the time at all hours of the day because people were like wanting to call and figure out what was going on. Which would be so annoying.
Very.
So like they'd have people, they were on Florida, East Coast. So at night they would be having people from California. It's like 8 p.m. there and it's 11 there. They'd be calling. And then by the time that people from California and like Hawaii would stop calling, would be like 2 a.m. that their time. And so now it's like 5 in Florida and people from Florida would start calling.
That's
So
terrible.
they could not get away from the phone. And they started ignoring the phone because that was before caller ID. That was before you had busy phones. So it
Right.
was like you called and you would either get through or not. And if you didn't get through, you'd hang up and then you'd call back. And
Yes, sir.
so they were not having fun with that. But then they got a phone call they couldn't ignore. Do you guys want to guess who called them?
The Sphere.
No. Good guess.
Las Vegas Sphere. The Sphere.
The government.
The U.S. military.
I knew it.
Ah.
And they were like, "Hey, we're gonna come and take a look at this thing." And Jerry, the wife, I put in parentheses the wife, so I'd remember.
Jerry.
This is a woman.
She said
Jerry.
She said, no way. But the government said,
Yes, way.
You can't tell us no.
Don't you love the government?
So Jerry was basically forced to agree, but she made strict rules and even made them sign a contract
Really?
to say you get it for 2 weeks. If you determine that it's not military. Like if it's military, it's military. She can't stop anything about
Yeah.
it. But if if it's not yours, regardless of what you find out, it comes back to us. It's ours. That was like her biggest thing. Is like we want it back.
Yeah.
We don't want you
This was
having
back
it.
when they trusted the government to be like, yeah, you can have that.
So they signed the contract.
What are they going to do? Go to court for 35 years and then it'd be like,
Right.
oh well, here's $1,000, but we don't know where it's at.
We lost it. It's in the Smithsonian.
You guys are going to be surprised. So the scientists from the government did tests that the family could not do. They got exact measurements. So the exact measurements is at 7.96 inches in diameter and 21.34 pounds. So the rough estimates, that's the exact. The shell was made of a kind of magnetic stainless steel alloy that could withstand extreme heat and pressure of up to 120,000 pounds per square inch. So this thing was really tough. You were not destroying this thing. According to the spectrograph, it was made of stainless steel grade 431.
I said steel.
They also found that it was intensely magnetic. It had 4 magnetic poles, 2 positive and 2 negative.
See, this
That
whole
doesn't make sense.
this whole magnetic thing makes me think it was shot out of a rail gun.
Well, I don't know physically where, but it'd be like, this is north and south, this is north and south.
Yeah, but
It's weird.
I don't know how you would do that.
I don't think that's not a natural magnet.
That's weird.
There's only a north and a south on a magnet. There's not 4 of them.
The magnetic fields varied in strength and were unusual patterns. And then they took x-rays.
Bet. Give it cancer.
And this is the weird thing. So they did x-rays. They said the x-ray showed nothing. The 2 weeks go by. The Navy says it's not ours. And it doesn't seem to be dangerous. So they gave it back.
Shocker.
I think they gave him back a clone.
When they gave it back, again, they were reporting, what their findings were, or at least to the amount that they could. The guy that gave it back to him and told him, including that there was nothing on the x-ray, he had a manila envelope. And in the manila envelope were x-rays.
Oh, no.
So they said we couldn't get x-rays, but they did, and they gave them the x-rays. And the x-rays showed that it had an outer shell that was about half an inch thick, and inside the sphere were different layers of steel of different densities. And at the core, about the size of an apple, it was hollow. And inside the hollow space were 3 other smaller spheres, and they each had tiny wires attached.
So a Cracker Barrel toy.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, like, how did the things get inside? Because there's no
Casting.
But how would they?
Friction welding and then polishing.
Yeah. We're destroying your mind right now.
No. It doesn't make sense.
It does.
How does it not make sense?
How could it be loose stuff inside of it?
Casting.
Just
Have you ever seen casting done?
Yeah. You take your reel and you throw it.
The only thing that I question about the casting is the wires,
Yeah.
because they would melt. Then you have the friction welding, which is probably the better option. And then you grind it and then you polish it.
So you're saying it wasn't a whole thing and it was just welded together?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
That's just
There's
one
no
solution.
evidence of that.
Yeah.
Well, a friction weld is really hard to tell
Yeah.
once you've grinded it down and polished it up.
Yeah,
Friction weld, for those that don't know, you take one end is well, it depends on how you do it. Either one end is stationary and the other one spins, or both of them spin, and they use friction and heat up to hook each other together or melt each other together.
Maybe they're too stupid in the 70s, but the Navy is like, we have no idea how that could have got in there. So I would imagine
They're too stupid in the 70s.
I would imagine that
like
these are things they would have thought of and ruled out.
Sure.
But again, maybe they didn't know of that technology back in the 70s. Also, why would someone do that?
Why does anybody do anything?
I don't know. This ball is weird. Anyway, so
Do we still have it?
So the scientists said, we have no idea how this happened, and they said, we want to drill into it and see what these are and take them out. And Jerry said, no, I'm not giving it back. You're not doing that. Meanwhile, the media caught on, and so there's stories running. They're talking about this, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So the Betz are interested now. They're interested in the reports, but they don't want the government doing it. They don't trust the government. So they take it to scientists for their own answers and have more people look into it. The first scientist was Dr. Carl Williamson, and he did a 6-hour tests, and he says that the sphere is emitting radio waves. He also confirmed basically everything else the Navy said, including the 4 poles, and couldn't explain any of it either. He also confirmed, again, the stainless steel grade 43 or 431, but he also said that there were traces of another element, and he didn't know what it was because
this is Hitler's bell.
According to him, the internal spheres were made of material with an atomic number of 140, which the highest natural we've ever discovered is uranium, which is number 92, and then we've created a bunch since then that are artificial that go up to 118. So 140 is beyond what we have. But he said that from what he could tell, that was the atomic number, which is how many protons the element has. So they're like, okay, that's interesting.
Where is it now, though?
They took it to another scientist, Dr. Hynek, and this is an astronomer and a UFO advisor to the U.S. Air Force.
An astronomer that was possibly part of Paperclip?
He worked for Project Blue Book.
Good old Project Blue Book.
Never mind.
And while he was doing that, a group of scientists flew into Jacksonville, came to their home and said, "We'll give you $750,000 cash for it."
Back in the 70s?
Yeah, so it's $4 million.
Yeah.
$4 to $5 million.
It's a lot of money.
And they turned him down.
I mean, they already had the mansion.
Yeah, like I said, these guys weren't in it for the money.
Yeah.
They turned him down. These guys got mad.
Wait, hold on 1 second. What was the husband's job again?
Marine engineer.
Ah, suspicious.
Why you say that?
Couldn't he have been working on something
I mean, sure.
in his off time?
So they got mad and left. They couldn't really do anything. They couldn't force him to sell it. But the Betz family were like, this feels weird. And so they looked into their claims of who they said they were and found out that it was all made up. Those people were not who they said they were. The
Really?
people they said they weren't real. And so they don't really know who they are. Their conclusion, I don't know why. Maybe there's reasons. to get to this conclusion, but their conclusion is that most likely it was a foreign government trying to get the
Yes.
sphere.
Yes, 100%.
And
Agreed.
so now they're like, okay, this is getting to be a bit much.
So let's sell to the real government.
No, but they did do something stupid here.
Oh gosh.
During this time period, the National Enquirer ran a competition to prove there's life on other planets.
They gave it to him.
Of course.
And they had like a legitimate panel. Even Dr. Hynek, one of the people that they went to, was in the panel. And for all I know, maybe he's the one who convinced them to submit the thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe, but there was also some of the UFO people there, obviously, because it's the National Enquirer and because it's aliens. But there weren't just the crazy wacko people. There were actual real PhD holders, a former Supreme Court justice, former United States Attorney General, so people with credentials. So they sent it in for that. They sent Terry to submit the sphere. Again, they're not turning it in for them to keep. It's just
Like as a submission.
observing it, right? They didn't really think it was from outer space, but they figured there's experts here. Maybe one of them can figure something out. And if it is extraterrestrial, that'd be cool. So he goes. Dr. Hynek says he felt it was man-made. And everyone there witnessed the sphere do some of its weird rolling stuff. So it's not just doing that at their house. This is confirmation it's doing that there. People saw that and they didn't understand. Someone suggested drilling again, and Dr. Harder, who was another one of the people on the panel, said the sphere contained material that they didn't know about. The 140 atomic number, and said, we don't know what this is, and if we drill into it, it could blow up. We have no idea. We don't know what we're messing with.
So it came back as with the 140 atomic number, but it also came back as stainless steel.
Well, the outer casing was stainless steel, but there's 3 orbs inside it.
The 3 orbs.
The
inside
3
of it
orbs
was
inside
the-
it are the ones that they
Okay.
detected were to be.
Gotcha.
And that's why they want to drill in and get them out.
Yeah.
Um,
Humans always want to destroy something when they find it.
So while this is going on, the Inquirer's office gets a phone call and come to Terry and say, you have to go home. Your mom just had a really bad accident. They called to let you know you go home. He tried to call home to check. The phone wouldn't go through because people were calling all the time. So he went back home immediately. When he got home, everything was fine. Nothing happened. She never called. None of that was true. And then it occurred to them, you didn't bring the ball with you.
Oh,
You
no.
left it there. And so they panic, and he goes right back.
Come on,
He
Terry.
goes right back. And they have his ball in the back. And he's like, give it back. And they said, no, we're not. It's ours now. Argued with him, fought with him. And he was like, I'm not taking that for an answer. Like, you guys tricked me to leave so y'all could take this thing. Eventually, they say, okay, we'll be honest with you. We don't have it anymore.
Of course.
Yeah, whatever.
The
That's
panel.
just like a toddler. Give me back my toy. No. Give
I don't
me
have
back
it.
my toy. No, I don't have it.
Well, they're not lying. What happened was the panelists took it.
Another foreign government.
They took it to New Orleans. So Terry, they tell him where they took it, like where they said they were going. So Terry makes the trip to New Orleans.
This sounds like an evil supervillain. Like, we took it to New Orleans. Good luck getting there in time.
He goes there, and when he gets to where they're having the sphere, it's being guarded by the Navy.
our Navy?
Yes.
Okay.
And,
No, the French.
and they tell him,
Too cowardly.
you can't go near it. You can't have it. And he's demanding it back. He's like, this is my property. The government cannot just take people's property. And they argue. And then eventually they just say, okay, our tests aren't really revealing anything new. We're not learning anything. We're not going anywhere with this. We're kind of bored with it now. And here you go. They give it back to him and he leaves.
It's terrible.
After he leaves,
Is it the real one though?
like always, people are like seeing it and they're like, oh, show us it rolling. Show us like whatever. So they do what they always do, try to showcase what it does, except now it's not moving.
Oh, it's a fake.
It doesn't do anything it used to do. When they get home with it, they start observing it and they start noticing there's like marks on it, and there was no seam. Now there's a seam, and so they're just like,
It's fake.
They take it. I did the same thing again. My notes just like I keep hitting on the side and it keeps scrolling. They take it and have it examined and x-rayed again. There's no magnetic poles, and the x-rays show the sphere again had a seam, and the interior doesn't have 3 small spheres, just a bunch of dust.
Nothing but dust.
They think Dr. Hynek took it, but they can't prove it. After Dr. Hynek died, years later, his son Paul mentioned something about them obtaining a sphere, and that all his dad would tell him was that it had to do with the UFO case in Florida. So most likely he did, but there was never any investigation. There was never any proof. But the idea is most likely Dr. Hynek stole it.
So much for being a doctor.
After this happens, they're slowly trying to get out of the limelight. I don't know if they've officially announced, hey, we don't have it anymore, or hey, it's not the same, or whatever. I don't know if they do. But for the next while, after they supposedly take it back, they're getting followed by people that they are assuming are government agents. And even one time, Jerry, the wife, was assaulted by someone who was pretending to be a repairman.
Wow.
So eventually they sold their house and left that island they were living on, and they stopped giving her interviews. They stopped talking about it. They're just like nothing to do with it anymore.
That's pretty rough.
And that's more or less where it ends. Now there's theories about the sphere. One theory is it was a piece of a down satellite, which okay.
Maybe.
Another theory is that it's a Foo Fighter.
Oh,
Everybody
that's
was kung fu fighting.
Wow.
I don't think that's probably. Another theory is that it's an alien atomic weapon, such as one that was used to destroy Atlantis.
Of course.
I like that.
The most accepted explanation, and I think this is bogus, was that it was just a piece of industrial equipment. An artist named James Jones said that he knew the sphere because it was his, and that he lost it a few years before because he was collecting scrap metal for sculptures. He was just going around finding scrap metal, and this ball was something he was going to use. And so he had it, that it was a part of a ball check valve, and he had it up on his butt, his Volkswagen, and it fell off, and he lost it.
That
Ball
makes
check valve.
That makes no sense.
With
And
magnets?
that this particular ball was one that was designed to be perfectly balanced. And so that's why it was rolling around, because it was so perfectly balanced that any sudden changes in incline, it would make it move.
Whatever.
And so that's the theory that gets mostly like the government and all of them are like, yeah, it was just a ball from a valve, ball check valve. I I don't think so at all whatsoever. I don't think the government would have spent any amount of interest in a ball. Not to mention that typically those things weigh like 7 pounds, not 21. And how did it end up in their yard?
Fell.
And then some other guy, Robert Edwards, said it was a ball that he made because they have a ball that they do that's 8 inches and 21 pounds. But again, it's like, okay.
You can't just say things, people.
Nothing makes sense. The fact that the government was interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Is-
always.
So, like, one thing I find fascinating about this story, there could be stuff that's made up entirely. There could be stuff that's stretched truth, like it rolling on its own. Maybe people didn't really see it roll up inclines, whatever. Maybe it was, not half the stuff they said, but the fact that the government was interested in it and some of the stuff that's confirmed 100% fact, there's no way to say it's not real. It's like, huh. And they don't, as it is now, as far as I know, it's not really known where it is or what happened to it or what it was.
Just a good old metal cube.
Just a pet ball in the 70s.
It's messed up.
So you think it was welded together and they just did a good job?
I mean, it's just.
I think it's possible.
I mean, you think actual question, because I don't know anything about welding. You think you can weld good enough that X-rays don't pick up on the inside?
Have you seen his dad?
I've seen his dad. I've seen him weld. No, I don't know. I don't know how deep.
A friction weld would be better than a regular TIG weld
Yeah.
because TIG weld would
More
only
uniform.
TIG weld would only get on the surface of a sphere, but a friction weld would do the whole entire face of the two parts put together and welded it. It literally it takes the atoms and it aligns them into one into a sphere rather than two separate objects. The thing with the wires though, that's the only thing that's tripping me up because depending on how thin the wires are, it would melt the wires.
Yeah.
Regardless because of how high the temp is.
Yeah, just the heat inside of the sphere.
Yeah. So I mean, sure, friction weld.
Laser weld, maybe.
Because maybe I don't know. Maybe you're right. I just think like if it were something like that, the Navy would be able to say, "Hey, maybe it was this," and they're completely were stumped
Yeah.
on like, how
Yeah.
did this? That's why I was like, when you're like, "Oh, it's just," I'm like, that doesn't make sense because if it was just the simple,
Now, I could be wrong about the X-ray and the friction weld because I do know that welds do show up on X-rays,
yeah,
but I don't know about friction weld.
because the original before it got I think it may not even got switched. I have a theory about that, but before the second one, there is completely the X-ray is like it's solid.
Yeah.
But I think it is also just possible that they took it and they actually did cut it open, pulled out the stuff in the middle because that's what they cared about.
Yeah.
Welded it back and just put dust in there to kind of weigh it a little bit so you wouldn't notice immediately picking it up.
Yeah, I mean, if it was the government involved in doing all that, I believe that.
It could have if the inner stuff was what was making everything happen, then
Right.
of course it would stop. So I think it's possible.
I got a bone to pick with Terry.
Back it up, Terry.
Why would you not look at it very closely as soon as you got it back?
Yeah.
Well, you couldn't tell. Like they didn't. I misspoke. They didn't see the seam on the outside. It wasn't until the X-ray.
Oh, okay.
So like there probably were small signs maybe if you really looked, but
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it wasn't. It was I misspoke. It was the X-ray.
All right,
that
Terry,
revealed
you're off
seam.
the hook, boy.
Well, why would you leave it there? Well, I thought his mom had an emergency.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if I've had this piece of equipment for years, hasn't done anything, and my mom's having issues, I'm leaving.
yeah, you're not gonna think about it. So you can't.
I gotta
really,
go.
I gotta go.
But also, I didn't explain this that well, but I think that the Inquirer was like far enough away that he flew there. So it wasn't like a 30-minute drive.
Okay.
So when he came back and said, "Hey, I want to see it" or whatever, it would have been like days probably. Which would have made more sense as to why they're like, you can't just come back here to, well, it's gone. It wouldn't have been like,
the conference is over, buddy. It's gone.
Well, the fact that his mom, Jerry,
Carrie's
got
mom.
assaulted.
Yeah, that's crazy.
what I wanted to say is I noticed when I was going, I didn't notice when I was researching and listening about it, but when I was going through it, the husband's not in the story at all.
Yeah,
That's why I think he had something to do with it.
It's all Jerry. She's the one. Jerry and Terry are the ones, like,
maybe it's because he's just like, I could care less about this. I just got to work.
maybe like I said, another reason why to think, because there's also the idea that they just faked it,
Yeah,
and that is a possibility. Don't know how you would fake everything, but that's a possibility. But they didn't. As far as money goes, there's no reason for them to. They've already.
yeah, unless they did it as a gag and then it got bigger than what they.
And then the military is like got involved and they're like, "Oh no,
Yeah,
what are we gonna do?" But then the military would have the first time. Like,
Yeah.
like that's the part that I'm like, if it's a gag, the military gets it, and then it's nothing.
Well, it's like those aliens that the Mexican government came out. And
Those
said,
are real. Those are real
We have
Mexicans. We have Mexicans.
I was about to say Mexicans. We have Mexicans.
What the Mexican government came out and said?
Guess what, guys?
Newsflash: we have Mexicans. You might be one.
That's
They came out and
racist,
said we have
guys.
aliens, and they brought them to the. Do they have a parliamentary system down there? Or do they
Yeah.
have-
Is that the one where the video of the guy who just grabs it and bites it?
yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about. but-
It's like
Yeah.
they-
They're looking at it in this little box thing, and the guy comes around, he just grabs it and bites it. Like, I don't know what thought process that was to be like, I know how I can make sure this is real or not. I'm gonna bite it.